Okay. Testing. Let me bring this a little closer. Maybe bringing it closer will make it just a little bit more. Jesus. Alright, thanks to good old OBS for reminding me that I need a haircut. Yep. Definitely need a haircut soon. Okay. Where's the reaction screen? Just in case, so I have it at the ready. It does seem like we are live. Is this up to date? Getting there. Let me open up my Google Keep so that I know what the topics are. Let me make sure that I know what the topics are because I think we are in for a bit of a chunky show. There was actually, hold on, Fonjoy reveal Superman. Adding something to the Keep now, that way I don't forget it. Okay. Anonymous Throne, welcome to the stream. I know you don't collect Black Series, but the Anakin Obi-Wan reveal hype is real. I saw that there was a Star Wars stream this morning. Didn't pay attention to it, and you would be correct that I don't collect the Black Series really, even though ever so often there is I have to pick my battles when it comes to Hasbro. That's really what it boils down to, is making sure that I pick the right things to, for lack of a better term, complain about or talk about in regards to Hasbro and their practices. You know, do I want to do it with the Black Series or with Marvel Legends? But I really don't feel I have the mental strength to tackle both, and that's why I feel like, well, between the two, I would probably say I have a greater affinity for Spider-Man coming from Marvel, so I guess I'll tackle the Marvel Legends. But ever so often, there's something from the Black Series that I do think looks kind of neat. Ever so often, I see a, a Darth Vader, something that I look at and go, that looks pretty damn good as far as likeness, as far as ink jetting, as far as all that stuff. But I'm like, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. I do not want to risk rolling the snowball into effect with the Black Series, that I'm just like, I don't want to risk doing that. I really don't. Okay, so let me check my mail. Do I have, yeah, I got the notification on the email. So I'll just give it a few more minutes for people to come in. How you guys doing on this Friday the 13th? Knock on wood. But yeah, I saw some people posting photos of the stuff that got revealed. I do follow Toy Shiz on Instagram, and I have it open right now. So let me see what they showed, because I did see that there was Mustafar. I'm not gonna lie, there you go. Like, every so often I see something from the Black Series that I'm like, shit, that actually looks kind of neat. And I'm not gonna lie, the Mustafar 2-pack there, with the little bases and the collectible packaging, I'm looking at that, I'm like, that doesn't look too bad, Anonymous. I'm looking at that. Everything else I'm looking at and going, yeah, I do not give one damn about it. But that Mustafar set, shit. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, but I'll give it a few minutes, because we do have as the thumbnail. It's funny because I had to put in the thumbnail. In the title, so and so, and then more, because we actually have a lot to cover today. It's going to be a bit of a chunky show that I actually might not wait too long for people to come in to start talking about it, because not really out of nowhere. They announced it technically last week, but I still thought that it was pretty soon for McFarlane to announce another episode of the McFarlane Toy Show so soon after the fourth one. They were quiet for quite a while, and now back to back we get episodes 4 and 5 within the span of like 2 weeks. So I thought that was pretty interesting, but I feel like 5 was a little bit speed ran, if that makes any kind of sense, because it did have a very congruent tie to the Superman movie tie-in figures, and considering that most of those tie-in figures are now arriving, I feel like they had to, like I said, expedite a 5th episode to be like, well, you gotta showcase these figures to remind everybody, and who knows if maybe the reasoning for it was of their own volition, or if maybe it was a contractual obligation. Stupid post. I just saw a stupid post online. Sorry. It distracted me. I don't know if it was like a contractual obligation or anything, but it just feels like McFarlane had to be like, hey, we gotta really shine a light on the Superman figures because you got this movie coming out. We have to do it. But let's sprinkle in some reveals there, and I am going to talk about some of those reveals, along with some other reveals that we did have happen out of all times over the weekend, because last week was practically video game week. Last week was insane. If you guys are anybody in the chat or anybody watching and lurking, if you guys are gamers, last week was a little bit on the crazy side as far as big events. We had Summer Games Fest, we had IGN Live over the weekend, but then also sprinkled in throughout the weekend and also stemming from last week, we had a PlayStation State of Play, which was, I think, a week. No. It was on Thursday. A week ago was Summer Games Fest. I actually got to be honest, I just felt my brain go a little numb by the fact that it's already been a fucking week since Summer's Games Fest. That is insane. It's already been a week? A week already went by? Jesus. Thursday was the launch of the Switch 2. Okay, so Wednesday was the State of Play. Actually, I just remember now. Wednesday was the State of Play. Thursday was the launch of the Switch 2, so people were playing the Switch 2s. Friday was Summer Games Fest. Nothing really went down on Saturday except IGN Live had a couple of events. Sunday, IGN Live continued with a specific block in there dedicated to McFarlane toys, which we will cover on some of very briefly because I feel like we don't really have to spend too much time on it. But very briefly, we'll touch upon some of the things that were covered during the IGN showcase on McFarlane toys, which was late. They kept saying 3:15, but it was literally almost an hour after, like 4:15, 4:20, that they finally brought on McFarlane toys, and I was like, what the hell is going on there? Cover that momentarily. And then also that same Sunday morning was the Xbox showcase, which with their own fair share of stuff that they were tackling. So it was a pretty insane, an awful lot of stuff. But like I said, mixed among there were some things privy to the channel as far as McFarlane toys, reveals, and then along with that, as I kind of mentioned, as I kind of wrote down here in the Google Keep, we had a couple of things coming from from Hot Toys. Although this one will be, like I said, very quick. Hot Toys has a new Spider-Man, and whether or not we really needed it, so much so that it literally, to a certain extent, kind of came and went. And then we have some of the prosumer companies, specifically Mezco, Fonjoy, and Sentinel, all revealing some stuff, kind of slightly under the radar. And I feel like I at least wanted to have a segment of the stream kind of dedicated towards that. Yeah, so we have some things coming down the pipeline. So like I said, I'll wait just a couple more minutes to see what people have to say. But in the meantime, anybody watching the stream right now or kind of lurking, let me know in the comments what you guys are doing right now, how you guys holding up against this heat. I know that things are a little touchy out there right now. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you guys are, keeping a level head as far as, like I mentioned before or foreshadowed before, mental fortitude, keeping sanity going. If you guys are hunting for things out there, let me know if you guys are fruitful in your hunts, because when it comes to some of these, what's that? Another fire. When it comes to, hunting down some of these new figures, some of these things are dropping, and very sporadically, it is becoming exhausting, and to a certain extent, also, it's funny because it gets both physically and mentally exhausting. Physically, obviously, because of the constant driving. Case in point, Tuesday, I felt like I needed to get it out of my system. Tuesday, I went hunting for like somewhere on the cusp of like 6 to 7 hours. And the reason why is because I drove it about an hour to an hour and a half out near the Inland Empire area, closer to like the LA area, but not close enough to get to where things are a little bit frenetic out there. Not going to touch on that here on the stream, but I just want to say, regarding that stuff, it's like I was just trying to stay away from it. And so I hit up as many targets as I can around the surrounding area. And for the bulk of it's ironically, I think none of them bared any kind of fruit as far as finding any of these legitimate Superman figures that I'm after. Ironically, some of the Superman figures... Actually, wait. No, yeah. Ironically, some of the Superman figures that I have been able to find have been mostly up here where I live in the high desert. Not going. That's why after a while, especially after that Tuesday run, where like I said, I was hunting for like 5 or 6 hours and going out to like some of the more populated areas within the Inland Empire, like San Bernardino, Orange. Well, not really Orange. I didn't really go to Orange. I didn't go that far, but around the like I said, the Inland Empire area, like Pasadena area, that kind of stuff. Um, it started to get physically exhausting because of, like I said, the driving, the walking back and forth, going into the store, coming out of the store. I'm surprised I didn't hit my 4,000 steps, to be quite honest, because I feel like I got pretty damn close. It's a little too late to check now. But also mentally exhausting because keeping track of all the targets that I did or did not go to. But also, as a toy collector, as a toy hunter, and also a content creator that covers these things on a regular deep dive basis, it is a little disheartening to see a lot of posts on Reddit and on the Facebook McFarlane Facebook group of people finding these figures that I'm after, and I'm over here with at the time, almost nothing. I have to say at the time, because thankfully since then there has been, like I said, just a microcosm of success. So really briefly, let me see if I can grab them. Okay. So, as far as the Superman stuff, because there's been like a major Superman dump, um, as of late, especially leading up to the release of the movie. But it's not just movie figures. Now, I don't necessarily want to get every single thing out there. There's a couple here and there that I look at and I go, I don't want that. So, in regards to the Superman movie, um, right now, honestly, like I said, I'm trying to keep things pared down, manageable, both financially and spatially. So I told myself, honestly, as far as the Superman movie stuff is concerned, I mainly just want the guy himself, Superman. I don't really. Mr. Terrific looks kind of neat, but I'm still on the fence of him. I'm sorry, but I cannot bring myself to spend the $35 of a theatrical deluxe edition for Ultraman, because he's mainly just comes with the extra hands and that's it. I don't. To me, to this day, I still disagree that figure should have been a theatrical deluxe edition. If anything, that should have just been a standard figure release at $22.99, not the full $34.99 for a deluxe edition. Even though he's only, like I said, he comes with hands and that's it. He doesn't come with like a extra head. He doesn't come with a bonus accessory, weapon, nothing like that. It doesn't warrant it. Then, in person, a couple of times, I've already come across the Lex Luthor theatrical edition. Still can't bring myself to do it, because even though that guy does come with extra heads, bonus pair of hands, and then, of course, the little baby kaiju figurine, first of all, it's Lex Luthor. Don't really care for the character enough to pick up a figure of him. But on top of that, I had this nagging feeling in my gut that this was going to be the case, and unfortunately I did see someone post on Reddit confirming the feeling, and I'm like, damn it, there it goes. Definitely not getting it now. They pulled the shit on that Lex Luthor theatrical edition, the same thing that they did to the Scarecrow Red Platinum from Batman Begins, where the bulk of the suit is so puffy because he's hollowed out on the inside. He's hollowed out. He doesn't have like a full-blown chest piece or torso piece. He's got like just that rod, and then over it they put that rubber top suit piece that you can kind of press in and kind of bend. And I hate that. I'm sorry. I know it's like a cost management thing, but I've always hated it when toy companies, even McFarlane, does it. I hated it when they did it with Scarecrow. It was very disappointing to see that. And from what I hear, they did the same thing with Lex, and that's an automatic, especially for Theatrical Deluxe Edition. Theatrical Deluxe Edition, sure, he comes with all these accessories, better than Ultraman, but then you're gonna hollow out his chest to where it's like bendy and gushy and rubbery and it feels cheap. No, that automatically made me go, do not want the Lexus. The Lexus, like the car. And that is so poetic because every time that I went to a Target and I asked if they had that theatrical deluxe edition Superman and it showed them the barcode, they would tell me that another store would have like 5 or 6. And I'm like, yo, I would go there, and literally this happened to me once. This is a true story. Went to a different Target that was about 10-15 minutes away, or that was already an hour plus away from where I live here, because I was going on a major regional area hunt. Go to this other Target, get there, all 6 of those UPC codes that I had them scan saying, oh yeah, there's 6 of them at that other Target. Go there, all 6 Lex Luthors. Which then confirms a fear that I was having during my hunts, that I heard some other people kind of ramble here with some singular non-theatrical edition units, but unfortunately the same situation is happening with the theatrical deluxe editions. They're sharing barcodes. So someone could scan the barcode that blatantly on the UPC code in letters it says Superman and Crypto, but when they scan it, for all I know, it could be Ultraman, it could be Lex Luthor, most likely Lex Luthor, because like I said, it happened once where I went to a different Target and all 6 in the system, it says 6 available, and I'm like, there's bound to be some Superman there. No, literally all fucking 6 were Lex Luthors. Just Lex. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And I remember that was like one of my last Targets that I visited, because I was just so, like I said, discouraged, disheartened. I was like, what's the point of carrying this UPC code around if it means that this could happen, where they're just sharing barcodes and it'll be pointless and it's a figure that I don't want? What's the point? Now, or at least what's the point of asking someone and having the scan code? Like, just go to the store, check. If they're not there, oh well, walk out. Because it's getting ridiculous. And apparently this situation is more or less also bleeding into, like I said, some of those standalone releases. Some people are trying to hunt down the red cyborg Superman, and when they scan the code, they get brought back the Battle Damage movie Superman gold label, and that's not what they were looking for. They bring back the animated series red and red variant of the silver version, the New Adventures of Batman. Apparently a lot of these are just mixing and matching UPC codes, and I gotta be honest, this needs to stop, McFarlane. I'm sorry, I like you guys, but I need to provide criticism where it's due, and I just do not understand. I need someone to break it down with me. Talk to me like I'm an idiot. Why is it that some of these figures are sharing UPC codes? There's got to be a logistic reason. I'm not saying that there isn't. There's got to be some logistic answer, but it just makes toy hunting just a goddamn nightmare, because, like I said, it's so discouraging to carry this UPC code around and realizing that when they come back with a figure that I'm absolutely not looking for, don't desire, and I'm over here like, just what's the point? And just the way that everything is just getting kind of released, not just with the scarcity or the fluctuating scarcity of these Superman figures, but also some of the delays that are happening with the McFarlane Toy Store. Like, the McFarlane Toy Store still has not shipped a couple of other things. I actually have a pre-order for Cowboy Batman at the McFarlane Toy Store, and they still haven't shipped it out because of the tariff situation that's happening. I actually got finally some communication from McFarlane today saying that, yeah, now they're expecting it late June, early July. And they told me, like, hey, if you don't want to wait that long, just let me know and I'll cancel it. I'll leave it alone because I used the coupon, so I'm getting it for, like, cheaper than anywhere else. But at the same time, it's disappointing that I'm like, yeah, even they're still catching up. Meanwhile, you could find certain things already at Targets, at GameStops, with the Cowboy Batman, or even some of the new Superman movie stuff, or some other stuff that people are looking for. Amazon is also a little bit behind. Like I said, you could find the theatrical edition of Superman, the movie version, in certain Targets, but I technically do have a pre-order for it on Amazon, but it's telling me it's not going to arrive until like August. And again, it could be touted up to the tariff stuff, but it's killing the momentum of the hobby. And it's just something that needs to be vocalized. Whether someone deserves to take the blame for it, I don't know. Like I said, I definitely do feel like this is a byproduct of everything that happened with the tariffs last month that has technically eased, but who's to say it's not gonna stay a problem? Because I was kind of having this conversation with my girlfriend where just because tariffs go down doesn't mean that Hasbro's not going to look at the amount of units of that black suited Toby Spider-Man that they sold at 30 to 35, almost $40 and go, oh, some of these saps are willing to spend $40. I guess we can keep it at $40. Why should we lower it? They pull a Bilbo Baggins. So yeah, that is definitely something that's kind of scary. And like I said, recently, this problem that I've been having with the UPC codes and how frustrating it's been to hunt for certain figures because you have one figure sharing the UPC code with this, that it's just better to just walk into the Target, go to either the end cap, the aisle, see if it's there, and if it's not, oh well, walk out. I know that people these days are asking for the barcodes, but after it, word of mouth gets out that these barcodes are all being shared, it just doesn't matter. And it is frustrating. I'm not saying that it's not. It is incredibly infuriating that a store, like I said, that was probably the most cathartic and definitive example is when I was told, when I had someone scan the Superman and Crypto UPC code, told me that a different store had 6, go to the store and all 6 were Lexus. And I couldn't believe my eyes. There were 5 in the actual toy aisle, and then there was one more Lex over by the collector's edition section by the electronics. Counted them all, and I'm like, there they are, all 6. God damn it. It was just the most annoying thing. But you know what they say, that sometimes you're able to find things when you're not looking for them. And that's technically what happened with me a couple of times in, outside of that, crazy hunting session that I had on Tuesday. Because I believe I found this either Friday or Saturday. Yeah, I think it was either Friday or Saturday. I found this with one other one. Actually, I'm missing it. $1610 man, welcome to the stream. How many Burtonverse Batman figures did McFarlane make at this point? When you say Burtonverse, you mean just the first Tim Burton Batman? Like the Keaton Batman from the 89? Because if it's the 89, I want to say 4. Because you had the one that came in the 6-pack. Well, if you want to count the Flash one, 5. But I personally don't count the Flash one because that's supposed to be the older Keaton in the 2023 Flash movie. So if we're just strictly talking 89 Batman, younger Keaton Batman with the 89 suit, then it's the 6-pack version. It's the Amazon Batmobile Gold Label version that came bundled in there. There was the standalone that was the Target exclusive at the beginning of this year with all the little accessories, the standalone. And then it's the recent bronze patina version, the statuesque looking version that is also a gold label, is also a Target exclusive, I believe, but doesn't come with any accessories. It's just because of the scarcity. It's just because of the color, collectability. I think it's 4. JM Herrera, welcome to the stream. I wish we can get an elite Arkham City Batman. Well, Arkham City, because I was gonna say, if you were saying technically we've already gotten those, that's what kind of scares me into thinking that we're not gonna get an Arkham Batman in the Elite Edition. I want to say we're probably going to get, maybe we can get an Absolute Batman from the new comic run. As far as anything pertaining to the Arkham series, I really want that Batmobile. Either from Arkham Asylum or Arkham Knight. And to be honest, between the two, Arkham Asylum. I really want some more representation for that Batmobile, because I feel like a lot of toy makers don't really pay too much attention to that original Corvette-looking Batmobile from Asylum. Doesn't get enough love, in my opinion. But like I said, outside of that crazy toy hunt session that I had on Tuesday, there were a couple of Targets that I visited up here that are much closer to where I live. Still bits of a drive, up to like 20-25 minutes. But there's been some fruit. I believe it was either Friday or Saturday that I went into it. Actually, I'm lying. Friday or Saturday, I think I actually did go somewhere kind of farish because I was waiting on my girlfriend to take care of something while we were down there. And I walked into a Target, and I actually did find these two next to each other. And I was like, oh, okay. So I mentioned that with the movie McFarlane Superman stuff, the only ones that I'm really looking for is Superman himself. However, between the standard edition and the theatrical deluxe edition, I only really want the theatrical deluxe edition, but it's one thing to say what you want, it's another to actually see it in person and think to yourself as a toy hunter, when are you going to come across this next? And that little bit of doubt starts to sink in, like, you might not find it again. You might not see it again. And I was like, God damn it. All right, fine, let's get it. And I got the standard edition. There it is. Standard edition. Corn Sweat Superman. Found this guy last week. I think it was, like I said, it was either Thursday or Friday where I found him. There he goes. But he wasn't by himself. Another reason for why I picked him up is because he wasn't necessarily alone. He was also with the gold label New 52 Superman. I actually really do like this suit. The New 52, there's something about it that I thoroughly do like. Even before he got made into a figure, I thought that his actual suit in the comics, whenever I saw a portrait of him, I was like, I actually do like that suit. And I like that the new James Gunn Superman suit kind of is taking some inspiration from that. From the collar to some of the linings on the suit. But they are bringing back the trunks, and this guy does not have trunks. And that's mainly about it. It's the collar and the lining. And then, of course, the symbol is taken from Kingdom Come, and you have like different amalgamations of the suit that I thoroughly enjoy. So yeah, I like the boots too. I don't know about the red lines on the wrists. Those look kind of strange. But I do like the cloth cape. So yeah, if anything, this guy's probably going to get a short. I don't know about a full review. It's probably just going to get a short, if I'm being honest. So yeah, these two were at one Target, and I was like, they're both here, might as well grab them. And this guy's for sure in-store only Target exclusive, and he for sure was coming home with me. Him, like I said, I wanted the theatrical edition, but at the same time, not knowing when it's coming, I'm like, might as well get it. I personally just want an Arkham City Batman because mine broke. Oh, that's why. Yeah, because they already made him in that build a Solomon Grundy wave. But as an Elite edition, I don't know. I for some strange reason, I don't think that McFarlane would dip in that. And they're so expensive online. Yeah, especially if you're looking for third party. So I found those two, and then on Sunday, while I was out with my girlfriend, and we were kind of killing time before we went out to eat because it was still a little early. We were kind of peckish, but not fully hungry. So I was like, "Hey, you mind if you come along with me on a quick hunt up here? Not in the Inland Empire area, but like closer to where we live. That way we don't have to stray too far." So I was like, "Sure." So we went to a couple Targets. First one was unsuccessful, but the second one, I was like, and my gears start to turn. Another Target exclusive, the gold label battle damage version of the Corn Sweat Superman. The battle damage, the dirty one. Which, admittedly, they're getting a little better at the battle damage look, slightly. And I actually do appreciate, strangely, that they changed his expression. He doesn't look as happy and hopeful as the standard edition. If you look carefully, even from outside of the box, I can tell that he's got a much more flustered look on his head. And I was like, that's actually a nice little, apart from the paint applications to make it look dirtier, they actually changed up his expression. I'm like, okay, I can dig that. I really appreciate that. And then when I saw this guy, not only did I have the feeling of wanting to pick him up because he's a Target gold label, but also that's when, like I said, the gears start to turn in my head and go, well, now I'm sorry, but as a content creator, my content creation brain started to get going and thought to myself, okay, How about you do one big video, because I'm known for making long videos, whether people like it or not. So why don't I bide my time slightly, work on some other stuff, but try to hold out as long as possible for the theatrical deluxe edition, and then in one big video cover all 3 Corn Sweat Supermen: the standard, the battle damage, Target exclusive, and then that theatrical edition with those bonus accessories. All 3, and compare all 3, because like I said, that's another thing that I like to do on my channel is compare figures between a Marvel Legends and a Figure Arts, a Mafex and a Sentinel, and a Mafex and a Fonjoy, etc. McFarlane and Figure Arts, yada yada. So I was like, you know what? I guess it's time for a 3-way of the Corn Sweat Superman comparison. I thought, you know what? Let me bide my time to see how long I can do this, how long I can hold out, and hope that maybe one of these days I walk into a Target or walk into maybe even GameStop or Best Buy, because there's rumblings going around that they're starting to ship out those units from those storefronts, and maybe I'll find those in store as well, the GameStop stops, because ever so often GameStop does come in clutch with certain figures in store. It doesn't show it online, but in store, if you walk in and poof, there it is. There's been a couple of instances where I found a figure in the store, check on their app or I check on their site, and on the site it says that it's not available, and I'm like, it's right in front of me, and I bought it. So I'm thinking if I can just hold out, it's gonna take a while for that video to come to you guys, but I'm probably gonna make one big video comparing all 3 of the Corn Sweats. That sounds weird, but basically the standard, the battle damage, the theatrical. So yeah, that was a lucky find on Sunday. That was honestly the only thing I found on Sunday. And then I think it was Monday, or was it? No, it was Wednesday. Wednesday, I went to one more Target before I went over to my girlfriend's place because she was making dinner, fearing that I was going to be late for dinner because I was going to go to 2 Targets, but I ended up only going to 1. And I was like, just hang tight. And I went to one of the Targets up here that I had, didn't have anything a few days prior, but then this particular day on Wednesday, and that's how I'm always kind of iffy when these restocks happen, because you're told that one day they're going to restock and then it doesn't happen, but then on the day that you don't expect it, they just miraculously restocked and set up the end cap for the movie figures, and I'm like, guys, what is going on? And that's where I'm like, you really cannot, I'm sorry, but you cannot trust. I know this sounds like a generalization, but if you walk into a Target and the majority of the employees there look like they just got done graduating from high school, shit ain't getting done. And that includes restock of figures. You're either going to have to, if you're brave enough, ask them to see if they could check the back, or you're screwed and you're better off just coming up another day. Which is predominantly what's been happening to me, because this past Wednesday, 2 days ago, walk into a Target that I was not expecting anything because I was just there a few days prior that was completely empty, but lo and behold, I go to that movie end cap that they just set up that I didn't see there prior. Red Cyborg Superman. Also Target exclusive. Gold label. And could be a potential hot take, but I kind of, for Cyborg Superman, I like this look better than the standard, which I believe right now the standard is starting to make waves at Walmart. Like if you go to Walmart, you'll predominantly find and I don't know if he's an exclusive to Walmart. I don't think so, because I think he was also available on GameStop, so he's not necessarily an exclusive. Kind of is, kind of isn't. It's one of those cases where when it comes to Cyborg Superman, this guy's being reported at Targets because he's a Target exclusive, but the standard is either shipping from GameStop, or if it's found in stores, it's mainly being reported from Walmart. It's not even Targets. Like, nobody's finding the standard at Target, but they're finding it at Walmart for some reason. I don't know how that works. I don't know if they got their shipping carrier earlier than the other storefronts, but I digress. Doesn't matter though, because between the 2 looks, I don't know what it is, but this black and red, you guys know me, I love black and red as a clash, and between the 2, I was like, I like this look better, and on top of that, he's an in-store Target exclusive, so there's a bit more of a scarcity, and when I walked in, last one. only one left. And he's looking pretty good, semi minty. I barely see any like paint scuffs or any problems, and he definitely made a much stronger impression on me in person than he would have online. And I was like, yeah, I gotta be honest, he's looking kind of spicy. And I was like, I gotta take him. I gotta take him. And I gotta be honest, I'm kind of glad that I got him, because he's being sought after quite a bit. And I'm like, yeah. So, yeah, found this guy after a while of checking out some of those targets, some of which were already being empty for quite a long time. And then out of nowhere, last guy on the shelf. I was like, really? He might have been back there this entire time, and maybe I didn't even check. I don't know. Who knows? So, yeah, this is insane. So, as I live and breathe, that's really about it for what I've been looking for, except, like I said, the theatrical deluxe editions. Still trying to find that Superman, but that's it. I don't want Ultraman. I don't want Lex Luthor. I definitely don't want Lex Luthor now. Mr. Terrific, I'm kind of on the fence. I'll have to see him in person. Right now, I'm not really strongly feeling it, but maybe I'll change my mind seeing it in person. Outside of all that stuff, the only other Superman that I have a bit of an interest in is that Strange Lives of Superman, because at first I was like, what the hell is this? But the more I see in-hand photos of him with the lion head, there's that platinum variant of him with the all-red suit, but he has like the Mad Magazine-looking head, and I was like, these look fun. I actually might want these. I'm not entirely 100% sold just yet, but there's enough goofiness happening with those two Strange Lives of Superman figures that I'm like, I kind of want them. I really wish I didn't want them, but I kind of want them now. So I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted on that one. Arkhamized, welcome to the stream. I appreciate the long videos. I like getting a full perspective on the figures. Yeah, because, every so often I get, people talk shit about my longer videos, and I'm like, well, you guys know what you can do? You can go and find, everybody else does videos that are only like 10, 15 minutes long. They just set up the camera, talk about the figure, and then that's it. I don't do that. All right? I have the tools to edit. I have the knowledge and the experience to edit. Why don't I apply to that knowledge and those characteristics to action figure reviews that you don't find anywhere else? That's what's going to set me apart, and that's the approach that I have. And that's the hole that I'm trying to fill. Pause. If you want those shorter videos, Anthony Customs is out there, even though he's starting to get longer with his videos. I noticed that some of his are creeping up on like 20, 25 minutes. I was like, ooh, there you go. But yeah, you'll have a bunch of others that just set up the camera, talk about the figure, and then that's it, and they post it because they want their review to get out there first. They want to be first. They want to be first. Without even bothering to spell check their title. Yes, there's someone in my mind right now that I despise, and I'm like, he just takes the easy way out. But if it gets views, if it gets subscribers, fine. I care about the quality. I care about the quality of the videos. Nate likes comics. Do you ever feel like a hoarder? Don't you get tired of spending all that money? I'll answer that question first. I have an answer, but I'm going to ask first with one other question. Nate's like comics. Is that a serious question, or are you being sarcastic or passive-aggressive? Just making sure. I don't want to spend oxygen and time on a question where someone is just trying to bring in and be like, well, you shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? I've dealt with people like that before, so I just want to make it clear. Are you legitimately asking, or are you just trying to be snarky? I just want to make sure. I'll wait on your response. Jason Selector, welcome to the stream, by the way. I forgot to say hi to you. Have you been affected by the LA protests? No. Well, directly, no. Because let's just say I live about an hour and a half to almost on average 2 hours from LA. It takes like 2 hours to get in and out of LA from where I live. It's technically an hour and a half distance, but that extra 30 minutes I always kind of add because of eventual traffic. So directly, no. Indirectly, there's been a couple of areas in the busier parts where some of these targets are actually. On my way to some of these targets, there's one street that's super populated where there's a bunch of businesses and where traffic gets the heaviest during getting off hour. And there's been a couple of like I've seen one guy who's in a wheelchair. He's in a wheelchair. He's old. He's crusty. He's looking like this. And he has like 5 flagpoles, one of those small ones, not the big legitimate ones, but one of those like small carryable ones, kind of implanted into the back of his wheelchair. And all 5 of those flagpoles are, of course, flying flags of you know who. And you can't even get mad. You just look at the guy and go like, okay. It's the excess. It's like, it's one thing to support. It's like, fine, be a supporter. I don't care. I truly don't care. Like, does it affect me directly? No, then I'm moving on. But it's the excess that I'm like, how much money did you spend on all these flags? Like, really? I like truthful reviewers because that way I know if the figure is worth it or not. Yeah, and sometimes that truth requires time. Like, come on, man. Especially when you start, like, some of these reviewers say that they're a fan of almost everything. And I'm like, really? Everything? You're a fan of everything? I hate to be that cynical son of a bitch, but everything? Come on. Okay, so technically speaking, one of the topics that I had on my Google Keep was about the UPC stuff and my recent hunts. So we tackled that. Now let's tackle about the much more objective information that was revealed out there, specifically from McFarlane Toys, because we have a bit of a whammy with McFarlane Toys, because literally yesterday, and funny enough, I was going to stream yesterday technically, but my girlfriend wanted to hang out yesterday instead of today, because originally I thought we were going to hang out today, but she preferred yesterday because she was going to be more available to cook than today. Let's put it that way. Today she wasn't going to have time to cook because of stuff at the house. So I hung out with her yesterday, and I told myself, well, if I have to like go and meet up with her tomorrow, yesterday, and I'll be free today, then I'll do the stream today. So yesterday I simply just watched the 5th episode of the McFarlane Toy Show, which was more or less dedicated to being it's funny, they call it Superman Day Special, but according to people in the live chat and in the comments, Superman Day is like in April, I think. So everyone was like, this doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it was a strange moniker to give to the stream, but the reason for why they call it Superman Day is because the bulk of the stream was meant to tackle the Superman movie figures. Nalex comments, that's an honest question. I felt that way, which is why I cut back on collecting. I also got rid of some of my action figures. I kept my, if I know, hey, okay, all right. Just wanted to double check. Well, to answer, now that, you know, we got that question out of the way, to answer your question, Nick's Like Comics, yes. Truth be told, yes. Nick's Like Comics, let me put it to you this way. I have a storage unit. Yeah. Just one. It hasn't gotten bad enough to get a second one, but just one, and I can still walk within the storage unit, but just the fact that I own a storage unit where I have the rest of my collection, I'm like, in shipper boxes, I'm like, yeah, I do. That's why there was this silver lining perspective that I did have towards this whole tariff situation, where the thing that I hated about the tariff situation the most is that I didn't have control over it. You know, it's that removal of agency. But the silver lining that I looked at is that now I do have, it's like, you know, that friend that wakes you up in the morning and says, hey, it's time to go work out, when you told them that you wanted to lose weight and they're holding you accountable. To a certain extent, the universe was starting to hold me accountable as far as the money being spent on McFarlane figures, to where now I go into my McFarlane Toys store account, I go through my list of like my most recent orders, and my last order was quite literally like 2-3 months ago. I was like, okay, and that order is yet to be fulfilled, which is the Cowboy Batman, because it got delayed because of the tariff stuff. So yeah, there is a silver lining to this whole tariff stuff, that it's able to being able to like pin, you know, bear down the stuff, you know, knuckle down my pre-orders, to where, yeah, it has slowed down my pre-orders, because ever so often I do think to myself, like, what am I doing? But I'm not going to say I do the one thing that enables me, because calling it and labeling it as an enabling element is bad. The only reason for why sometimes I need to give myself peace and not stress myself out too much is because I am a content creator. I'm not just a collector, but I'm also a content creator, and that's the golden rule that I kind of established and self-imposed on myself to keep myself in check. Is that if I'm putting down a pre-order for something and I'm buying it outright or spending money on it outright and taking it home with me, like some of these Superman figures that I just showed off, is the question that I ask myself: is this content, or are you just collecting it just because you want to own it? You're just collecting it, then it should wait. Especially right now, being technically unemployed and technically, even though I am making money off my YouTube channel and I'm trying to grow it, trying to look at the bigger picture of things. That's the question I ask myself. Are you making a video out of this that will then give you a return of investment? Yes? Okay. Take it home. Take it home with whatever you've been able to scrunch up. Is it not being made content out of? No? Leave it. As much as it hurts, as exclusive as it is, being a Target exclusive, Walmart exclusive, whatever the case may be, you're not making content out of it and you're just buying it because you like the look of it, leave it. It hurts, but leave it. And the first one that I knew needed to go and needed that to get applied to were certain pre-orders I had for Hot Toys figures. There was a Hot Toys Darth Vader that I really, really wanted, but I knew for a damn fact that I was not going to cover it on the channel. It was not going to get a review. I just wanted it because it looked cool and it was awesome and I wanted to own it. But I was like, yeah, as soon as things started to get a little tough financially and the tariff stuff started to happen, I was like, cancel. Immediate cancel. There was a John Wick, I think, Hot Toys. I canceled that for sure. What else did I cancel recently? And then it started to bleed into figures that I would have made content on it, but I knew that it wasn't going to take priority over some of the lesser stuff like Marvel Legends and McFarlane Toys, because Hot Toys don't take off like that on the channel. And that was Hot Toys Spider-Man 2 Venom. The 21 inches of Venom, the massive Venom Hot Toys figure from Spider-Man 2, the game. I canceled that because I got the email saying, hey, we're about to ship it. But I knew that between that and the Marvel Legends Venom that came in, as well as more McFarlane stuff, I was like, this stuff takes much more priority because not only is it more affordable, but it also do better on the channel than Hot Toys stuff. I looked at the analytics and the Hot Toys stuff. It does some numbers, but not as great as McFarlane. So I was like, cancel that. So I knew that needed to happen. So that was my experience so far. Do you collect any of the Superpowers line? Archimized? No. I don't have that great of an affinity with the superpower stuff. It looks neat when I see it in person, and I like the vintage look to like the box and stuff. But all that Kenner stuff was before my time. I just narrowly missed it, so it's very tough for me to get into it. To this day, I still have not picked up any superpower stuff because I just don't have that emotional tie to it. Kite Man sold out already. I'll touch on that a little bit, Jason's Electric, but I did see that. I expected it. It's a Target exclusive. It was part of the whole Target geeking out thing, whatever it's called. So I was like, yeah, that shit's gonna go. I'm starting to get you, man. I got rid of Rebirth Batman, even though I really liked it, and a few Dragon Ball figures. Nah. What are your thoughts on Marvel doing a Legacy series line? I think the Mark 85 Iron Man in February and decided to get the Captain America and Spider-Man. So far, they're cool to me, especially for people. What's the Legacy series line again? I honestly can't remember what it was. Do you think you will ever come to an end on purchasing action figures? Because there has to be a point when it comes to consumerism. It's one of those things where it's difficult to say currently right now because, part of my guttural instincts is to want to say, yeah, eventually, I'm going to have my own kids and I'm going to want to stop collecting because my priority is to, take care of the kid. The money goes towards that. But I see a bunch of collectors on YouTube, on social media that already have their kids, and once they in a place where the kids are old enough to play with some of those figures, then they're going to start passing those on, and there's going to be something to there's going to be a void created, and eventually companies are going to go, hey, what about this figure? Look at this brand new uh, special edition Spider-Man or Batman. Maybe not from McFarlane, from a different company, but they decided to look at the vacancy in the market and go, hey, we're going to make this thing for those 40, 50-year-olds that grew up with the Keaton Batman that are now in their 40s and 50s, which will be in like the 2030s, 2040s, and be like, $50, kind of like the Maximum Series Spidey, but you got all these things that. How is a father going to look at that and go, did we already get the kid vaccinated and cover that, their entry into kindergarten? Yes. So we got some leftover money? Yes. Who am I to say that I'm not going to do that? Like, how can I call that right now? I can't. Okay, so, guys, we're almost an hour in. I still haven't talked about this McFarlane toy show. So let me transition here. The screen. Let me transition the screen. And here we have the McFarlane toy show. I am gonna skim through it because, like I said, I feel like we already spent quite a bit of time. But obviously, from the very first frame, you can tell what the theme of the show really was. Again, kind of something that I hinted at the very, very beginning of the show. It definitely does feel like a bulk of the show, which was a pretty beefy one, almost a little over 50 minutes, 52 minutes to be exact, was dedicated to showcasing the Superman movie stuff, from the superpower stuff, which you guys asked questions about right now, to then, of course, the proper 7-inch DC Multiverse McFarlane toy stuff. Of which I'm, like I said, currently in the hunting for. The robot is also another one that I personally feel needs to be a standard edition, not a theatrical deluxe edition. I don't know why it's in there. It's funny. I feel like the robot should be swapped with Metamorpho. Metamorpho is a standard edition, but I feel like that one should have been a deluxe and came with like bonus rock accessories, so you can swap out the arms and the legs to make them look like hammers and a mace and a spike and like that. Would have had some better playability, but they didn't do that. I feel like I'm a little dumbstruck that they didn't take advantage of that. But yeah, a bulk of the show was just to talk about the Superman stuff, the cosplay that they were doing, which is cute. It actually, the Lex Luthor stuff is really good on him right there. But they talked about not only the Superman resin statue 25% off, that's also tied into DC Direct, but also AJ and Claudio. Yeah, AJ. I keep forgetting his name. AJ. Rex Luthor, as he called him. Stupid. But then they also touched on the pre-order that went live yesterday, which was the very strange collaboration between DC and Legendary, who own the Monsterverse, of Godzilla fighting Superman. Huh. It's funny. Sculpt-wise, Godzilla looks neat, but look at how static that thing looks. It just... If I want a Godzilla figure, I'm looking at either Ace Age Figure Arts or Haya. Sorry, McFarlane, but this is strange. And they are doubling down on Godzilla because there's going to be another 2-pack with Wonder Woman. Now, this Wonder Woman actually looks legitimately kind of neat. They're reutilizing some tooling as far as the body sculpt that's similar to that, I don't want to call it Golden Age, but that what a lot of people consider to be a definitive Wonder Woman, the collector's edition that I have. Similar to, it looks like it's using the similar body parts to that, but it does look like a different head sculpt, and then of course different sculpting on the actual skirt and tunic and the overall armored outfit. So eager to see what they do there, but you do have a sneak peek at a brand new Wonder Woman there, so if people missed out on that original collector's edition, they might have a second chance at a definitive looking Wonder Woman. The only catch is that you're gonna have to take Atomic Breath Godzilla with you. Sorry. So they touched on that tease, but they didn't really elaborate it on much more. Then they showed us yet another cover recreation, which, okay, fine, but it's of Kingdom Come, only it's like an all reddish, fiery looking Superman there with the cloth cape. Again, I really do like the Kingdom Come Superman that was released as a standard page puncher. Don't know if I'm down for this cover recreation once more. Again, the cover recreation stuff, I don't know if it's gonna be a true hit because even I'm not buying into it. To this day, I still haven't picked up the Dark Knight Returns version. I don't see myself picking up this guy. Originally, I wanted the Killing Joke Joker one, but we all know what happened there. That was crazy. Another statue. We currently have a $50 PVC statue in stores right now of the Corn Sweat Superman, 12 inches, which I've seen in person a handful of times. It looks decent, but it looks like just any other McFarlane statue. It looks okay. This, however, is going to be a resin statue from DC Direct. So this is one of those. It's probably going to be like close to about 100, 120 bucks, standing at 1/6 scale. So it's going to be about this. We'll have the articulated wired cloth cape. So interesting, but it is the resin statue. So I'm like, I'm good. I'm good on that. And again, they touch base on the superpower stuff, though. Props to them for the collectible nature of this pack right here in the middle. I do like the packaging of this thing. Look at that. I actually do like the look of that. I don't know if I'll get it, but I like the look. Yeah, that looks cool. Yeah, so that was pretty neat. And then, of course, to tackle more about that stuff. Since they were on the topic of superpowers, they showed off more superpower stuff. Again, I'm not big on superpowers. So an awful lot of vintage throwbacks there. If that's your speed, that's cool. That's got it right there. And then, once again, they touch more on the Superman stuff. Some of which I covered right now. Hold on. Let me check on chat right now. Give my throat a break. Pause. Big Rib, welcome to the stream. J.M. Herrera, why do you say Shartimus Prime type shit? What were you referring to? Because I can't remember what I was talking about. New hairstyle, dig it. Honestly, it's just getting long. I haven't even put any like gel or anything in it, any product. I just haven't done it. It's getting long. You can also pass down your collection one day to your future kids. Oh yeah, I talked about that. I'm sure it's a tough conversation though, because at the end of the day, you're a content creator and you can't make content with that. Yeah. That's why I asked myself that question. J.M. Herrera, that's not a bad idea about the website's idea, but it's just, a lot. I would have to live on the internet more than I already do. And like I said before, it's just mentally exhausting. Like after a while, I'm like, shit, like mentally training to keep tabs on all these websites. And, so after a while, I burn out. I burn out on even just looking at my phone. JM Her, what version is version 2 of Injustice 2 Batman? Because I know we got Injustice 2 Batman already, but what do you mean by version 2? I don't hate statues, I just don't collect them. But ever so often I see one that I'm like, because, as bougie as this is going to sound, if I'm collecting statues, I'm going all out. And I'm getting one of those like $500 ones. Not going to just, pick a $50 one here and a $100 one here, a $70 one here. I'm like, no, I'm going to go all out with the quality. The dude not being able to buy his daughter's stuff, the one with lines on his chest. What? Lines on his chest. Yeah, I gotta be honest, Jam. I still don't know what you're talking about. That was the wrong screen. Well, I mean, it didn't have... Yeah, it's just a chat. Okay. That's why I was like... My fear is that it's going to have the stream key, but it doesn't have the stream key. Okay, it just has the analytics. Technically, this is fine. It just shows the chat. You guys are able to see that. Just has the settings. Yeah, it doesn't have anything. I thought it did, but it doesn't. All right, that's fine. That was close, though. That was close. Bam. All right. And then, like I said, they talk about the Superman movie stuff that I practically even covered myself, to the point where they even showcased a little bit of the controversial kaiju here, because that guy's advertised as 22 points. And even though this is not the first time I've dealt with this, this is another one of those figures that the box says 22 points of articulation, but if you count it, it does not have 22 points. I think it only has like 18 or 19, which is okay, but just don't put it on the box that it's got 20. Just erase it from the box. Just delete that. That's all you gotta do. But leaving it on there, I'm sorry, but you're setting yourself up for false advertisement. By the way, guys, I respect you. I appreciate you guys for doing hosting duties, but we need to have a talk with I can't remember his name, but the guy who does the photography for the figures whenever pre-orders go live. Great photography. We need to work on this whole setup, because look how blurry everything like. Hold on, is this like the highest quality? Because I was watching it on my phone while I was making breakfast, because like I said, they did this at 10 in the morning, which is just 15-ish or so minutes before I wake up. So I woke up a little earlier. I was still a little crusty-eyed. So I was kind of watching this semi-crusty-eyed, and then I went to the bathroom, washed my face, went to the kitchen, started setting up to make my breakfast while I had my earbuds pressed into so I can listen to this. So I was kind of watching it from like the side eye. I wasn't like seriously looking at it directly like I am right here. And now I'm like, damn, we definitely do need to refine our skills as far as lighting, because this is kind of bad. This is a bit more passable, but when it comes to like this turntable close-up, yeah, we need a better camera here. This thing needs to be 4K if you're going to be punching in, because once you punch in, you're going to be stretching those pixels. I don't know if they have like a different guy handling the video stuff versus the photography stuff. It's got to be a different guy. It's got to be. Yeah. So, I don't know what's up with this. McFarlane, you guys need a video guy. Just saying. Just saying. I'll toss my hat in that ring. But yeah, this is obviously a huge. Oh wait, hold on. Oh wait, hold on. Right there. So for the most part, this is stuff that we've already covered. Again, here's the goddamn figure that I'm after, the theatrical edition of Soups with the cloth cape, the face plates, the hands, and then of course the good boy himself, Crypto. This guy. This is the one that I'm after. Still can't find it. Still cannot find it. Ridiculous. However, we are then given something kind of gnarly, kind of peculiar. A Ross exclusive. Whoever pitched this to McFarlane, give him or her a raise, because someone on that team is aware of the metadata, the game, the memory within the action figure community, because everybody knows that when a figure does not sell all that greatly, it gets passed on to Ross. Over at Ross is where an awful lot of unsuccessful Marvel Legends, McFarlane Toys, Spin Masters, they all end up at Ross's. So now McFarlane, big brain on McFarlane, is like, why don't we just send something straight to Ross instead of just waiting? But make it affordable, because everybody knows that when something shows up at Ross, it's showing up on a clearance price of like $8-9. How about we cut out all accessories, make the figure as bare bones as possible, and make the packaging as cost effective as possible in the form of a blister card, a Superman from the new 2025 James Gunn movie on a blister card with the most minimalist spacing available, no accessories, Ross exclusive. Just thrown in there. So, how much do you, I guess that's my question. How much do you think this guy's gonna be? Because he's gotta be He's got to be this guy, right? It's literally just this guy, only without the bigger box and without the accessories, the card, or the base. So that figure by himself, it's a little misleading to put the theatrical edition. Yeah, but it's got to be this guy, right? Just notice there's a couple of scuffs on the face of the standard edition. I might have to go and swap it. God damn it. Might have to go and grab it. Damn it. Oh well. But yeah, how much do you think that Ross exclusive bare minimum is going to be? That is definitely a strategy. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. $21.99 Ross price. No, that's too close to being a standard. That's way too close. $19.99. No, it's got to be $14.99. I know that's a hot take. It's got to be $14.99. It can't be more than $14.99. ChippyCast, welcome to the stream. I can't see it being above $14.99. They have to strike that perfect strat. They might have to eat it at a cost. David, you ever watched Smallville? First couple of seasons, not in. It's been years. I watched it mainly when I was a teenager, but kind of fell off of it after a while. But I definitely have a strong respect for the show, for what it was trying to do. Oh, J.M. Herrera, I know what you're talking about. The lines on his chest where it's like kind of puffy, like this. I think I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. All right. Yeah. During the campaign. Yeah. Yeah. It's come to me now. I really want to get one of those cyborg Superman figures with the regular colors. Everywhere else is out of stock. Yeah. So far, Trippycast, like I said, most people have had their luck finding the standard cyborg Superman in like Walmart's. Whereas the red and black one, obviously, being a Target exclusive. I think it's awesome that they did the Ross exclusive too, because it lets kids or people with low budget be able to buy it. It reminded me when my mom bought me Mattel's. I gotta be honest, there's a part of me that hopes that Ross exclusive does sell. Because then he'll be able to jump out of the movie licensing and go into like, okay, you know, what can I put out there to then just strip away the accessories, strip away the base and the card, and just provide the figure bare bones at a affordable, especially if it's reusing accessories from like a prior release. People could be like, $14.99, I could just take the figure? Fuck, dude, go get it. Ross. Honestly, like I said, it could be a good strategy. Okay, so finally in the last like 10-ish minutes, 15 minutes, literally 15 minutes of the show, we finally get proper reveals not tied to the Superman movie. Starting with an interesting one, albeit one that is starting to become a bit of a trend for McFarlane, which is that they're taking an awful lot of pre-existing figures and re-releasing them as 2-packs. So we had the Grim Knight and Killer Croc. We had... what was another one? The Bat Pod, I guess. From Dark Knight Rises, the Bat Pod and Batman set. There were a couple of other 2-packs that were also getting re-released that were of pre-existing figures. But here, we get one with much better visual quality that I think does look kind of neat, but it's technically still, like I said, a slight reissue, though there's some slight sculpt changes that I think look kind of interesting, and that is a 2-pack of a unmasked, all-red, almost Dracula-looking Merciless, and a armored Batman Who Laughs with outfit that's a little different than what he's usually wearing. And I gotta be honest, it looks kind of legit, even though, like I said, part of my brain is still thinking that this is technically a reissue, but there's something kind of dope about the way that Merciless looks, the color clash. Like I said, he reminds me a bit of the Dracula, the Gary Oldman version. And then Batman Who Laughs, I like that his attire is more or less almost completely different, even though some of the tooling might be reutilized from prior existing Batman Who Laughs McFarlane figures that they've done. But the texture looks kind of nice, so I might be keeping an eye on this guy. I also like the turntable, the design of the turntable that they gave him this time around. So yeah, this actually looks kind of dope. I might be down to pick this up. This was the first eyebrow raise of the show so far, to be honest, after all this. Then they showed off some other, I can't remember if they said that they were going to be collector's editions or page pointer. I think they're collector's editions. And, you know, the Superboy I thought looked alright. This looked alright. Interestingly enough, I actually kind of dig this first appearance Wonder Woman. I actually do like the way that she looks. It's got that vintagey feel. Kind of like the first appearance Superman and first appearance Batman and a Max Fleischer Superman. And to pair with her, you have a Steve Trevor. Decent looking. Like I said, I like the vibrancy to it that harkens back to the comics. Alright. So a couple of reveals there, and then there was this one. I think she is going to be a page puncher. It's like a different Batwoman. I can't remember her name, if I'm being honest. Hold on, can I see the chat replay? There you go. Let's see what they're saying. Pfft. Yeah, the day after week, the McFarlane community is starting to get a little toxic. I don't know what's going on over there, man. But yeah, new Catwoman. I do like the cloth cape, but I'm sorry, Catwoman, Batwoman or Batgirl. But the actual affinity to the character, like I said, I'm kind of like whatever's about her. I'm like, I don't really know enough about her, and the suit's not really doing it for me all too much. But again, something a little bit different than what we're used to. But we can't get too different because once again, we got Batman. We got more Batman in the form of a No Man's Land, which sadly I'm hearing is becoming inaccurate again because apparently No Man's... Hold on. Let me look it up. Because people are saying that No Man's Land Batman is technically supposed to be black. The suit. It's bluish. It's got like a tint. Nah, it's blue. I don't know why people were saying black. It's blue. If anything, people are probably looking at this shot right here, but you can see the blue shading. Huh. Alright. I thought they got it wrong, but not really. Maybe this shot. Maybe this is the shot that they're looking at. But again, it could be the lighting that they baked into the design of the page. Because over here, it's straight up blue, more or less. This one. But once again, we're using the, what is it, the Nightfall Buck? Nightfall Buck returns. The nylon cape. Head sculpt is looking okay. I'm a little indifferent towards this one. I don't know if I'll pick it up. And I can already tell we're utilizing the same accessories, the same hands, the same batarang. That's why I'm like, I don't know if it speaks to me enough. It's funny because the biggest highlight of this figure right here, it's got to be that utility belt. It's the most unique looking one. But outside of that, I don't know. I don't know. Time will tell. Time will tell on that one, to be honest. Then we have, who was this guy again? I mean, he looks cool as far as, like, the sculpting of the body, but I don't know who this character is, if I'm being honest. I like the look of it, though. And then we have what they really like to refer to a disco Nightwing. Gotta be honest, don't really care for this design. I prefer the Nightfall Nightwing that I already have. And then we have what is it, Mr. Miracle? What's his name? I believe that's Mr. Miracle. Mr. Miracle, which actually, I wonder if there's a bit of a conspiracy theory. A Mr. Miracle reveal, which was already showcased at WonderCon with a render, but here's a final, well, not a final product, but like a product reveal. But it's pretty timely considering that 2 days ago, they announced that they're making an animated show of Mr. Miracle with Big Barda, who as soon as I saw this picture, I showed it to my girlfriend and I was like, hey, you want to cosplay? I mean, come on, man. It's us. It's straight up us. But yeah, they're making an animated show. And if McFarlane is making a figure out of him, which I'm not going to lie, looks kind of neat. I like the design of the cape and the way it's held together by these buckles and the belts and the overall construction and tooling of the body. But if they're making him, they got to be making Big Barda, right? They have to make a Big Barda figure. You can't make a Mr. Miracle figure and then not make a Big Barda figure. And then, I gotta be honest, I can't remember who this guy, who's the name of this guy is. He looks cool, but at the same time, like I said, I see some tooling that I've already seen before, specifically these pants and the arms. And a lot of them are going to be exclusives. Speaking of, like I said, getting a little exhausted with the repaints, Night Send Azrael. I like the color clash, but at the same time, I'm going to have to see him in person. Because right now, this is probably, what, the third time we've seen this buck? This is the third time? I'm like, alright, guys. I get it. I get it. Like I said, I feel like I'm going to be buying the figure a third time, only with this color. Somebody said a McDonald's one. And similarly enough, another repaint, the Batwing of I think Jace Fox Batwing. I could be wrong. I think that might be a different character. But yeah, technically speaking, I also have this guy already, only it's the all silver one with the yellow fire coming from the back. Now this one does have a cleaner aesthetic with a color scheme that I personally do prefer. But at the end of the day, we are talking about yet another repaint. So, time will tell if I'm actually going to be down to want to pick this guy up. He looks cool, but the needle hasn't really moved all that much in that direction. I'll have to sleep on this one. Same thing with this, hold on. What was the name of this guy? I actually do have to listen to this.
And one more from the standard DC Multiverse line coming soon. We got Batman Troika.
Troika?
Now, of course, got his the longer ears on his cowl. He's got a soft goods cape, wired as well. Claudio, you had something to add?
Yeah, as well, like the extended gauntlet spikes, as well as the ones on his boots are really.
He's got
cool.
spikes on his
Looks
boots.
very, like spot on to the comic. And,
yeah, it's elongated.
Really, really good.
Pointy parts on his
ears
boots and on his gauntlets and on his ears, but then you look at the
fair.
body and I'm like, it's Three Jokers' body again. The Three Jokers with a little bit of hush again, all black. The only upside is, like I said, the head sculpt, kind of unique, but otherwise,
pretty nice. Yeah, it's an awesome looking figure. Okay, so we've got
yeah, like I said, it's getting a little strange to want to get some of these guys. Like this one didn't have, and here's the thing, spoilers, they're really about does it for the stuff that I wanted to showcase, because after that we do get some, I think, page punchers.
But we've got more on the way. And the first up, and Dark Archer. So we have the show, but we're going to show you what's to come from McFarlane Collector Edition. So we have...
Oh, this Collector's Edition.
And we've got...
So more
Beast
Collector's
Boy.
Editions, Beast Boy. I do like the pizza accessory.
With, got a snake.
Yes. And the snake piece and
I believe he does
rat.
So you can Mirror Master.
Don't know who this guy is.
I should become... Well, he's a first... Metron in...
Metron.
Oh, yeah.
Using the Nightfall buddy. It's a nice body, but it's a nice body. And I do like the inclusion of the chair.
Okay, most.
And then we have
also in
a
the
comic
collector edition
Deathstroke,
line,
which, if
looking
anything, out of
just
this whole set that they revealed here towards the end, this is probably the only guy I look at and go, maybe. It's a big fat maybe, because I do have a pretty strong attachment to Deathstroke. I like Deathstroke as far as like a good chunk of the Batman Rogues Gallery of villains. But in terms of going for this like faithful vintage look with like the bell bottom curling, foldings of the boots and stuff, I don't know. Once again, I know it's sounding kind of repetitive, but time will tell. And that's the thing. After that, they pretty much are done with the show with a little bit of recap. And they never really fully confirm it, but they almost made it pretty much sound like this is their last toy show before Comic-Con, which makes kind of sense. We're practically halfway done with June. Before we know it, July is here, and then we have Comic-Con. And it sounds like their next live stream is going to be towards the end of July when Comic-Con takes place. So I'm hoping that we have some bangers coming out towards that event, because you really don't want to leave things hanging with an event like Comic-Con. But at the same time, like, this one didn't really have anything that made me go, yo, kind of like the last show did with that Batmobile. A couple of interesting things here and there, but I had to wait until, like I said, those last 15 minutes. I would probably say that out of everything, it truly was, it truly was that Merciless and Batman Who Laughs 2-pack. This was probably it for me. The big one that I told myself, yeah, I'll probably put down the pre-order for this one. Everything else was kind of like wait and see. Specifically those Batmen, because they really were just retools and repaints. The Batwing, the Night Send Azrael, topical. The No Man's Land Batman, although I do like the color clash, the color scheme utilized for him. And then finally that Droika Batman, where, like I said, the body, I feel like I've already held that before. The only thing about it are the major spikes in the big elongated ears for the much different head sculpt. But outside of that, I was like, starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel it again, guys. Starting to feel it now, Mr. Krabs. So, what did you guys think about this show? Cause, no, close. I accidentally opened my editing software. Stop. Don't open. I don't want it. Please don't open. I don't want to risk crashing. Okay. I don't think I opened it. Cool. Oh, it did open. Son of a bitch. Stop. Close. Okay. Whew. Yeah. I thought it was alright. And I think overall it was not bad. In fact, I would lean for it to be considered good. But the one little detail that made me go, uh-oh. Lebowski, where are those Batman Returns figures, Lebowski? But he said you're good for it. Yeah, I'm starting to get nervous over the Batman Returns wave, guys. Now I'm getting nervous. The fact that, and granted, I know that it would be a little bit cannibalistic to showcase the Batman Returns wave here when they're already tackling prior existing theatrical deluxe editions, especially since priority dictates that we should probably showcase more of the movie stuff, because you have that movie coming out literally 2 weeks before Comic-Con. But at the same time, no hint of it, at least, no foreshadowing meant of it, at least. And I still, remain steadfast with what I said before, where I truly do feel like it's a licensing thing. I do feel like it's they're still trying to nail down the license. That shit was revealed, I think that was last year, right? Last Comic-Con. Because I remember watching it in person and breaking the news myself on subreddit. No way. Oh no, that was okay. I don't know. I was having a Mandela effect. I don't know what was. I was like, "There's no way. It can't have been Comic-Con." No, it was WonderCon. It was WonderCon.
So
March. Okay. I don't know why my brain went to, well, was it like, what the hell? Was it Comic-Con last year? No, it was WonderCon. It was back in March. So it's been 3 months. We're coming up on 4. So if they do re-reveal these Batman Returns figures, I honestly feel like their last shot to do so is going to be Comic-Con. If we don't get actual figure prototypes, either in person there on the table like he sometimes likes to show, or at least a turntable shot up on the screen of those Batman Returns figures at Comic-Con, which is still a month and a half out. So by that point, it's going to be 4 months. 4 months since their reveals back in WonderCon. I think that's it, Chief. I really do think that's it. Without your biases, who does it better with their figures, Marvel Legends or McFarlane? McFarlane. But again, like I said, even though they're both imperfect and both got their problems, with McFarlane, I feel like making them 7-inch. Again, I'm thinking about the prices: $23 to $24, sometimes $25, depending on where you're buying. Like GameStop sometimes has certain McFarlane figures for like $26.99. But knowing that it's an inch bigger, and sure, some people can say it's not scaling with my 6-inch, but that extra inch is more plastic that at least adds value. I feel like I'm holding something pretty solid in my hand. There's some accessories that actually complement the figure. Now they're dealing with felt goods, even though sometimes the felt goods in and of themselves are a little bit on the cheaper side, like nylon and that like rubbery feeling for like the cowboy Batman coat, etc. Whereas Marvel Legends, like that recent Ultimate Miles Morales, feels very finicky. It's $24.99, but you only get like one set of hands and then the little mini comic, and then that's it, and the bonus head. But the unmasked head sculpt looks way too old looking to be Miles. I was like, and the articulation feels flimsy and static. It's nah. As far as batting average, I'm sorry, but McFarlane. David, you should blog a video of you going hunting some action figures. Absolutely not. I'm sorry to be super blunt and straightforward, but that is absolutely a no-go. Nate likes comics. No. With where I live and how the public is, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. I think one time I contemplated the idea, but I do not have the patience to be... I'm such a perfectionist with my video content that trying to get it to look good out in public where I don't have control of the elements, I'm like, oh no, I can't do this. I wish I could do this, but I can't do this. I'll take photos. You know, every so often I post something either on my community tab or on Reddit, but if I find something that's kind of unique and it's worth shouting out, showcasing, but overall I'm like, no, I can't do it. Now, let's see. How can I find the IGN McFarlane? IGN Live. Because I don't think McFarlane posted it to their main thing. No, but IGN did. They cut out the segment. Okay, good. Good. Amazing Yamaguchi Deathstroke is so dope. I'm trying to remember if I have the pre-order for the reissue or even if there is a reissue. I'll have to double check. Do you like Amazing Yamaguchi figures? But to answer your question, Nate likes comics. Yes, yeah, no, to a certain extent. Like I have that stylized armored version 2 Spider-Man. Um, God, it's become a bit of a running joke, but I technically right back there have the Arkham Knight Amazing Yamaguchi figure, and I already filmed the review, but I still haven't edited it because every time I turn to want to I pull it up to want to edit it and start making a dent in it to get it out on the channel, something comes out from either Marvel Legends or McFarlane Toys, or there has to be something that I need to pivot to, and it keeps getting pushed. It's to the point where I'm like, should I even release the review or maybe refilm it with some added context? I don't know. But yeah, I have that. And then literally, I think 2 days ago, I got charged by Hobby Link Japan for the Agent Venom Amazing Yamaguchi reissue. I still haven't shipped it though, because like I said, I'm trying to catch up on some stuff here at home. But I probably should just ship it anyways and just make sure it arrives before anything else happens. A. Oliver, welcome to the stream. I want that Fortress of Solitude on the left. Oh, A. Oliver, if you're referring to the one that was on the show, I think that's like a custom-made one by the photographer. Okay, really quick because I can already start to feel my my stamina go down. So let me see if I can kind of breeze through this. But the McFarlane Toy Show from yesterday was not the only thing that was showcased or, kind of done in a spectacular fashion. On Sunday, IGN Live was happening over the weekend, and they did have a very delayed segment focused on McFarlane Toys, and Brian from McFarlane Toys was there. I'm trying to see if anybody who's in the... Okay, I don't recognize any of these people. But yeah, Brian from McFarlane Toys was there to show some of the new Elite Edition stuff. So regardless of how you feel about IGN, just bear with me real quick. Like I said, I'm going to breeze on through this. But this weekend, well, prior to that weekend, we obviously had the Doom Slayer from Doom the Dark Ages. Pre-orders went live, and they sold out immediately. The figure is still, I think, ever so often popping back up, available through certain storefronts. But for the most part, we're all just kind of waiting with bated breath to see how this figure turns out. Looks interesting. I can already tell that's only going to have a one elbow joint bending right there, and it's going to have the swivel baked into it. So we'll see how that manages to work in person. But yeah, he's going to come with all the accessories, yada, yada, yada. But also, finally revealed and available for pre-order was the second Elite Edition that I also kind of talked about in a prior stream, which was Lilith from Diablo 4, which I mentioned before. A little strange that we're not getting another Batman to kind of sophomore the Elite Edition wave. Instead, it's going to be another video game related figure. I will admit she does look kind of neat. Whether or not I'm going to legitimately pick her up, I don't know. Interesting that she's the same price, $60, because I feel like she comes with more accessories than the Doomslayer did. I don't know if they're going to show like one of those photos. I might have to pull it up here on the side, because I saw that photo from when the pre-orders went live. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Here we go. So, some of these photos look pretty nice. I like the sculpting. But look, it got all these red stickers, which I believe are like drops of blood, kind of similar to that, like the stuff that you do in Diablo. I think I don't know what the context is of these stickers. But the face plates, and then she's got 6 hands instead of just one bonus set. And then that little skull, devil thing. And then, of course, the wingspan, which I believe is articulated at least on one point right here. I think this part could extend. I believe. Let me look at the other photos. Actually, I might be wrong about that. I don't think it's articulated. Never mind. Damn. But yeah, I feel like there's just a little bit more packed into her than Doomslayer. I don't know. It might just be me, or maybe it's because of the allocation. Because you are dealing with a thicker body and more sculpting happening on the body of Doomslayer, and you got the faux fur cape. So I guess there's a bit of a trade-off there. But she's the same price, so we'll see how this Elite Edition kind of plays out. But we got our look at 2 more Elite Edition releases coming up here in the remainder of the year. One of which was almost a given, staying with the video game series or video game motif, the T-60 mech suit, armor suit, from the Brotherhood of Steel in the Fallout series or Fallout video game series. I don't know if they're throwing it to the show or to the video game. I'm assuming it's the video game series, but yeah, you can see right here that's the T-60. If there was a video game model that was made for Elite Edition, right up there with Doomslayer, it would be the Fallout mech suit, the T-60. So that is pretty decent, although it's kind of interesting that it's in package and they didn't give us a breakdown of the accessories too much. But the next interesting thing to note is that their 4th Elite Edition is the protagonist from Persona 3 or P3 Reload, Persona 3 Reload. Because, for those of you who know, McFarlane announced that they got the rights to the licensing rights to the Persona 3 Reload series like 2 years ago, maybe 3, and they've been quiet since, to the point where people legit thought that they canceled it, it was dead, it was gone, and then out of nowhere, here it is as an Elite Edition release. Huh. So it resurfaces, and here it is as an Elite Edition. Are there going to be more characters from Persona 3 getting that same treatment? Absolutely not. I can almost guarantee you that this is the first and only time you're going to see Persona 3 representation from McFarlane. I feel like they might be regretting buying that license. And after a while, they went into the back and said, you know what, let's swap things around. Let's cancel all of the other characters we were going to do. Just make the protagonist, but make him Elite Edition. Pack in accessories, pack in all the cool stuff in there, throw it into the Elite Edition box. $60, maybe 50, I don't know. We'll see. If anything, I got to be honest, because of a slimmer physique that the protagonist from P3 Reload has, I feel like that guy should be 50. He shouldn't be 60. Or if he's going to be 60, I better expect literally double-digit amount of accessories. I'm sorry, but he's got to. And let me see if we can actually get a close-up of the Persona 3. Oh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hands. Again, asymmetrical. I don't know why. The evoker / gun that he utilizes. 3 faceplates. So 4 total. The sword. I feel like something else should be in the back. I'm trying to remember. Did he have any other accessories? You know what he should have come with? Give him the Berserker B treatment and a bonus set of arms and a rubberized torso so that you can swap his outfit to his school outfit. Because for those of you who are probably catching on now, I did play the Persona 3 Reload remake on Xbox Game Pass. And I really did enjoy it. I really did like it, to the point where I'm actually pretty hyped that they're remaking 4, and I can finally play 4. And I actually do have 5 Royal in my PS5 backlog, but I still haven't gotten to it. And I'm kind of intimidated to play it because I hear it's like a 90 to 100 hour game. Just the story alone. Even if you don't do the main the side quests, just the main story is like 80 or 90 hours. And I'm scared to go down that rabbit hole. This thing, I think, took me 105 hours to beat. But I do know that in the game, you have his outfit from when he goes out hunting in Tartarus for shadows. But then he's also got his schoolwear. I think it would have been sick and worthy of the $60 price if he had at least, not even the pants, but like just a bonus set of arms and the extra like torso to swap it out for like the backpack and plug in the other arms without the band. That's like his schoolwear. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what they should have done. So if this is all he's going to come with, he's got to be $50. If he's 60, then that's going to have to be a no for me. But if they had thrown in that extra like alternate outfit, then okay, 60. That would have been a nice idea. But that's just me. And then towards the very end, keeping it video game centric, but very much harkening it back to nostalgic tendencies for everybody over at IGN, showcasing more of the Mortal Kombat Legacy stuff. To the point where these prototypes are now in box, which means we're probably inching closer and closer to full reveals, probably at Comic-Con, not just for Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but we're also probably going to get a deeper look at those 2-packs, maybe some on the floor stuff, probably some display stuff, and maybe a release date for the Mortal Kombat releases right here. And I do like the vintage look of the arcade cabinet look to the boxes. But yeah, look at that. That actually looks pretty dope. Like the sculpting is actually kind of nice looking. And the paint applications? Yeah. I actually do like that. Yeah. I do dig that. I actually might be down to pick those up. Yeah. And that's mainly about it. So yeah, it was very, very video game focused. They didn't really cover any DC stuff, but it makes sense. And I guess to, placate some of those people that were hungry for DC stuff, they definitely, technically speaking, made up for it with that 5th episode. That was yesterday's. So what did you guys think about what they showed at IGN Live? How long does it usually take you to edit a video before you're ready to post it? I film on the weekends because that's when my parents go out to eat and I have the house to myself, so it's quieter for me to be able to film. And depending on the scope of the video, for example, I recently just filmed the Black Cat Gamerverse Marvel Legends. That video I think only takes me a few hours to like cut it, put markers where I'm going to be cutting close-ups to. And I could probably post it, like say for example, if I film it on Sunday, something small like that, I could probably post it by like Thursday. So we're talking about 3-ish days. So total amount of hours, 10 altogether, or maybe a little under 10, maybe like 7 or 8. But if we're talking about a big endeavor, like a comparison video between a Figure Arts and a Mayfix, especially if I'm reviewing one of those two for the first time, like a first time review of a Mayfix, and then I'm comparing it, then that's when we get to like 10, maybe 15. No joke. Okay. All right. I'm gonna barrel through some of these because, like I said, I'm starting to get tired. I'm starting to lose my voice. Possibly getting hungry. Well, I'm not really hungry. I ate a lot of French toast this morning. It was good though. Next, really quick topic. I'm gonna breeze on through this because I don't know how much I can kind of add to the conversation here. But as I mentioned before, an awful lot of other these companies, not just from the consumer side with McFarlane, basic consumer side like McFarlane Toys and Marvel Legends, had some reveals, had some things to showcase. specifically on the McFarlane toys. Marvel Legends is going to be quiet up until Comic-Con because that's how they roll. But McFarlane was talking quite a bit recently. On the other side of the spectrum, super expensive companies like Hot Toys also have been talking, but they could also be talking in an empty fashion, in a way that maybe nobody was really asking for, because they not only revealed, but they also released a Last Stand Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2. So if you guys remember, this is one of the outfits that you can collect and unlock in Spider-Man 2, the game. And they made a Hot Toys figure out of it. Not only did they reveal it, literally within the span of like 4 days, maybe 5, they revealed this figure and released it. So it got revealed, went up for pre-order, and released. Or I think it's the opposite. It released first, and then Sideshow made it available for pre-order. And if somebody is lucky enough to live near the Hot Toys base in Hong Kong, they could literally walk in and pick it up already. And so we got not only official photos, but also blogger photos of this thing. And I guess my question is, do we really care at this point? This is the Last Stand suit where he's looking almost post-apocalyptic. Like he's got regular jeans and like a biker jacket that's modeled after the Spider-Man suit with the symbols on the front and on the back. I like the color clash. You know me, I'm a sucker for black and red. But overall, the look of it, I'm like, it's aight. I like the fake pleather look. Overall, looks decent, but like, does anybody really want it? I like the Oscorp outfit with the symbiote inside. Spoilers. And I like the weathered look of the... I do appreciate the weathering that they applied, the weathering applications that they gave towards the robotic arms. But like I said, unless you're a major completionist, if you already have Advanced Suit 2.0 and maybe the black suited Spidey from Hot Toys, to spend like another 200 plus on something like this, I'm like, you really have to be devoted. You would really have to be dedicated to completing the set, because I'm like, damn, man. And I think it's only it speaks for itself, the fact that they were able to reveal this and release it within the span of a week. That's how quick they were able to turn this thing around. It's like, oh yeah, we still have some bodies. Just add some jeans on it, retrofit and retailor the jacket to look like it does in the game. Restructure the head sculpt, but just put on the same body, utilize the same arms, only give it the weathering paint, and that's it. You don't have to make a new sculpt. Very, very easy. Like I said, some of these blogger photos are complementing it fairly well. Do a nice job of giving it a good look. But is it like an absolute, like, I need this? It's like, no. And, I mean, how many times did we end up saying that a lot for some of the suits that were released from Hot Toys for the first game? To the point where they ended up in the bargain bin in Sideshow's website. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. This is definitely one of those figures where, like, if I was to buy another Hot Toys figure on Sideshow and they said, oh, hey, we'll throw this in for free, I'll be like, all right, sure, I'll take it. I won't delete it like some people were doing with the Captain Marvel. Like, some people were legit deleting the Captain Marvel off their carts when they were throwing it in for free. It's like, Jesus, that is bad. Okay, last quick topic, because it's mainly just a bundling, if that makes any kind of sense. Like, I'm taking 3 prosumer figures and bundling together, because sandwiched right in between, we have what I like to call prosumer companies, which are those companies that make figures that are right in between of, like, not Hot Toys expensive, but also not McFarlane, Marvel Legends cheap. It's right in the middle of like $80 to $90, maybe even $100-ish. So the likes of Figuarts, Mafex, Mezco, maybe even a little bit of FunJoy thrown in there. And so give me a moment while I pull some of these up. Where's the figure arts? I know Paternia shared something. Let me see. How did I miss it? I got the Mezco one ready. Here we go. Oh man, it's kind of weak. Go to the website. Yeah, this is way better. All right, cool. So we got that. Okay, so first up is one that I am probably a little conflicted on. I don't know if I necessarily like it. I did technically put down a pre-order mainly because they didn't charge me right away. They're not going to charge until it ships, which won't be until either the end of this year or probably like early next year. So we got some time. Sentinel is not done with the Spider-Verse because they are going to be doing a... Sorry, thought I heard something. They're going to be doing a Sentinel Spider-Punk. Sentinel's doing a Spider-Verse Spider-Punk. So if you guys know who Sentinel is, they do figures that are a bit more on the stylized, a little bit more robust with like the quality of the plastic. It's like it's a little glossier, but sometimes they do things kind of neat. I have the Sentinel Penny Parker with the robot, and it's pretty nice. I have the Sentinel Peter B. Parker, which has some cool qualities of it and some other not so cool ones. And I know that they have a Spider-Man Noir, but I still haven't. And I have the Miles. The Miles is also pretty good. But I still haven't picked up the Spider-Man Noir. It's on my wish list, but I still haven't picked it up. But now they're jumping into the Across the Spider-Verse team by giving us SV Action Spider-Punk. Now, this shot right here does look kind of nice. It looks kind of neat here. And overall, I'm digging the aesthetic, except when we get to like the pants, I can kind of see a little bit of that very rugged sculpting that they like to do around the knee area, where you can kind of tell that things look just a little bit blockier than I was anticipating. But I do like the effect of him kind of putting his hands in his pockets. You can't do that with almost any other figure. That's something that they're doing. Ever so often, they do an accessory or they do something to sweeten the deal in a way that you don't see in other companies. And so far, that's the big one with Spider-Punk here from Sentinel, is that he has the vest effects and the arms or the hands to make it look like he's got his hands in his vest. And you won't see that with any other company. That is their selling point. Ever so often, they do that with some of their figures. So that's cool. However, over here, we start to get into the territory where I'm like, that looks iffy, and that's the lenses. Something about the lenses look a little strange to me. So I don't know how I feel about that. Right here, it doesn't look too bad. But there was a different shot. Oh, it's this one right here, where he's squinting. The eyes look a little strange. I don't know what it is, but something about him looked kind of off. Everything else, not too bad. But it's the eye lenses. And the separation of the vest. I get it's there for the effect, but look at that. You got the cutout of the vest. I was like, that kind of ruins it. Because over here it looked pretty nice the way that they were kind of blending it in. But then over here, right there, not too bad. But right there, the separation, I'm like, to get the vest to actually flex and move with that effect of the hands. Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. And I believe I have the Hobby Genki page over here that will then give us a full image. Can you blow this up? There you go. Yeah, so here are the accessories. And you could also argue that his face looks a little triangular here, but in other shots, it looks pretty nice. Like right there, that doesn't look too bad. I like the hair effects. But it's really those lenses and the shaping of his head when he's masked that I think is just a little off, in my opinion. And then also how dark I'm gonna have to check and see some stills of him in the movie, because I do think that the boots look a little darker. Actually, you know what? Matter of fact, let's just do it right now. How does he, see, every time I pull him up from the movie, it's always super stylized that I can't really make out what the color looks like. In movie. I have pictures of the figure arts and the Marvel Legends, but where is, and technically there's the Hot Toys, and the Hot Toys is always kind of striking for accuracy, so I would argue that according to Hot Toys, his boots are supposed to be brighter. Not as dark, so I would probably say that's the only other inaccuracy they got going. That Sentinel's got going. Because, yeah. I don't see... Like I said, every time it's a shot from the movie, it's... That's super, like... He's got the animation that just completely cuts it out. It makes it difficult to know. See? No idea. So I can only maybe assume that it's supposed to be a bright red, and meanwhile Sentinel's got this super dark red for some reason. So yeah. Everything else though looks nice, although those picks are going to be a nightmare to keep in box because I fear that I'm going to lose them easily. They better have their own little baggie. But yeah, you know, you got the web effects similar to some other Sentinel Spidey figures. You got some web effects for the web shooting hands that are already pre-attached, although kind of a little bit of my OCD wishes that we still had web shooting hands without the web strands pre-attached. But that's just me. Especially since you have these two pairs of hands right here that look almost identical. This one's kind of like stretched out but not wall crawling. These are like distinctly wall crawling. So those are a little, obviously you need guitar, you know. You got the big picture hands where he's going like this. And then, of course, semi-relaxed hands on the fist. So, overall, not a bad outing. I think once you convert this, it converts to like 110. I do think it's a little pricey. I think it could have been a little better at like 95 or a flat 100. But it's also not the worst price imaginable. Now, whether or not they're going to hit that October release date, we'll see. Because like I said, the tariff stuff is making it a little difficult. Like right here, that doesn't look too bad. Except for, like I said, a few of the lenses problems that I have. Not too bad right there, except for, like I said, the darker maroon boots and the lenses. Yeah. That's not terrible. But right here, like this right here, this looks strange to me. This right here, it looks like his eyes are just floating on the mask. So hopefully that looks better once the final product rolls around come October or November, should they release around that time. So, yeah, I'm a little conflicted on Spider-Punk. Christian Corbett, welcome to the stream. Love the Batman Begins video. Not the only Batman Begins video I got. Got another one going up on Sunday that's actually on the movie for the actual 20th anniversary. Because this Sunday not only is it Father's Day, but it's also the actual today, to the day, 20th anniversary of Batman Begins, June 15th, 2005. So, Sunday is going to be my retrospective on the movie. I'm currently editing it right now. Now, one figure that was revealed that I'm not conflicted on, and I'm definitely leaning towards pre-ordering. The only downside, though, is that it is from a company that I've been kind of shaken a little bit by before. So, we'll see. Maybe this time it'll work a little bit better in its favor. And that is for a Mezco 1/12 scale, felt goods covered, animated series Batman. And the reason why is because when it comes to animated series Batman, very tough to ruin that likeness because it's based on the Bruce Timm animated style, so you don't really have to deal with any weird likenesses or sculpt issues with the head like they did with the Pattinson Batman, where I was like, this looks kind of strange. The only thing I think does look a little strange is that maybe the head is a little bit too big for the body. You can kind of see that from right there, as they're trying to like replicate the opening title shot. But this was revealed, and it's up for pre-order now. Standard Mezco pricing of $116. And it's going to be felt good suit. I do think that, like I said, I can't shake if it's the arms are a little too small, or they're trying to emulate that Bruce Timm look. And of course, this is speaking to my nostalgic tendencies because you guys know that I grew up with the animated series Batman, and because of that, they're trying to hit my demographic, and it's kind of working, but it's at the same time there's some shots. This shot looks good, but at the same time I'm scared that it could be just a forced perspective thing. Because right there he looks nice, but over here the head looks way too massive. Look how small his arms and his hands are. Like, this looks a little off. The actual coordination of the suit looks nice. Very accurate to that of the animated series Batman. That's not too bad, but I can't see enough. And there is going to be a Joker from what we can tell. This doesn't look too bad. Can I do this? Oh, I can do that. Okay. I can do that. That looks nice. He's going to come with the radio and the breather. Not the breathalyzer. I kept saying it wrong. The breather. Of course, the grapple. Again, here the head looks a little big. Right there, a little big, but not too bad. Dang, he's got some cake on him. Look at it. That looks nice. So yeah, like I said, some shots look nice. Others look a little doctored. And then, of course, we have our traditional Mezco layout here. Damn, he's also packing. What the hell's that? And like I said, I know they're trying to go for that Bruce Timm look. Here, it looks a little off. Something looks a little too feeble. Like I said, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but right here, we're looking a little strange with the proportions. And this one, like I said, that's why I feel kind of conflicted on, because I was like, I definitely feel very, very strongly about the animated series Batman, to where whenever a prosumer company like Mezco, Mafix, Figure Arts want to tackle it, I think to myself, like, my eyes peel back, like, oh shit, what are they going to do? But then when I get to the photos, I'm like, like, I know they're trying to emulate the V shape of the Bruce Timm look, but I feel like they have to go either super exaggerated or not do it at all, because right here they're trying to go for like a mix mash of a somewhat realistic body proportions, but it doesn't work with animated Batman. You have to give it that, like, that Bruce Timm look. So obviously the base and the arm, the extra hands, different head sculpts. I truly do appreciate that. 3 interchangeable head portraits, the angry grimace, standard neutral stoic, and then he's got the Harvey no scared face. I love it. The breather, the gas mask, the summon remote, the 2-way radio, the goggles. Of course, he's always wearing the goggles. 2 batarangs, 2 shurikens, the infrared spray can with effects. That's nice. That's actually pretty cool. They're actually doing a pretty good job with the accessories. The grapple hook, the torch cutter with effects. He did use that quite an awful lot. And then the utility belt will actually come with a hidden compartment behind the buckle. That's sick. So yeah. Oh, that's a pretty nice shot. But like I said, this looks like one of those figures that's going to look best when you're actually posing him. Because if you put him in a neutral pose, those proportions are going to look really off, really strange. But then there's another catch 22, if you will. He's got a felt good outfit on. Leaving him in really cool poses like this to kind of mask those proportions will then potentially come back to bite you in the ass, because then you're going to weather the outfit or the felt good cloth covering the body and stress it in a much more faster fashion than putting him in a neutral pose, because now he's going to get stuck in this pose, and there's going to be wrinkles. Some of the threading in the fabric is going to tear. but that's the only way to mask the proportions. Like I said, it's a snake eating itself. And that's always been kind of like my issue with Mezco. That's kind of kept me at arm's length. I've already had one Mezco figure. I was very conflicted on it. Ever since then, there's been like 1 or 2 figures here and there that I'm like, that looks kind of neat. Like a classic comics 1960s Spider-Man here, Keaton Batman over here. And I'm always kind of going back and forth, like, do I want it? But then I hear conflicting things online with reviews. They're very pricey because of the felt goods. And now they're revealing this, and once again, I'm back to square one. Should I not? Now, granted, if I pre-order, for damn sure, I'm going to be reviewing it. But this thing, I think, is not even set to come out until, what, 2026? It says November to January 2026. So I'm assuming as early as November of this year, but then as late as January of 2026. That's still a ways out, which is definitely one of the main reasons as to why I haven't even pulled the trigger on a pre-order, let alone that it requires a $29 non-refundable deposit. So yeah, there's quite a few hurdles, quite a few signs, stop signs, kind of like I said before, kind of putting me at a arm's length with that one, because I'm like, I don't know. His legs are tiny. Yeah, you can see it, huh, Christian? Yeah, pre-ordered this Batman. Are you pre-ordering it, Big Rip? Just curious. Okay. And then last topic, last coverage of, like I said, a prosumer tackling something, kind of giving McFarlane a bit of a competition. Even though I personally feel like, there might not be much in the way of competition, because this might not be it. Home skillet biscuit. Fonjoy is entering the ring for the Superman James Gunn movie figures. They're delivering their own 1/9 scale, so it's not 1/10, it's 1/9. So it's not 6 inches, it's not 7 inches, it's like a 9-ish, 10-inch figure. If you guys are familiar with Fonjoy, I've covered a couple of Fonjoy figures on the channel, predominantly stuff from the BVS series, or predominantly Batman. So BVS Batman, the Justice League version of the Batfleck, with the updated suit, the Pattinson Batman, and I definitely still am eager to check out the tactical suit Batman, the Nightmare Batman and then the Nightmare and Armored Batman from BVS, because those do look legitimately kind of neat. You know what doesn't really look all that neat is the Corn Sweat Superman here, which is a shame because the suit itself looks actually kind of nice, though the underwear looks a little baggy, but the sculpting texture happening on the suit, the cloth cape, the symbol, the color coordination looks nice. His head is not only way too small, but that likeness is completely off. I don't know what is going on with that likeness, but that is not Corn Sweat. Trying to ape Corn Sweat slightly, but something just looks really, really off. Yeah. Something looks off about this. I'll see where my reviews for the Corn Sweat Superman McFarlane figures land, but if they do well enough... Oops, sorry, my bad. If they do well enough, I might just say screw it and be like, well, for the content, as the kids like to say, for the content, maybe I'll order this guy and compare him to the McFarlane to see how it does. Because right now, I'm not terribly impressed. And it's a shame that the bulk of the accessory allocation inside the packaging is crypto. He's only got bonus hands, and then you have 2 cryptos. Neutral crypto, flying, open, happy face crypto. I like crypto as much as the next guy. I'm a huge dog guy. Would have preferred an alternate head sculpt with like the red eyes, with like a smiling, less aggressive face. Maybe just one more bonus set of hands over another crypto. I'm sorry, but that's just me. And it looks like Crypto in and of himself is part of the deluxe edition. It looks like they're doing that whole thing again where they're doing a standard edition, which is just him, the hands on the base, and then the deluxe edition, which is the 2 Cryptos. I think instead of a Crypto, it should have been just 1 Crypto, and like I said, bonus head with the eyes, the laser eyes, a smiling or a much more optimistic looking face. Deluxe edition is going to be 199 yuan. What is that? Because generally their deluxe editions are about 60 to 70 bucks, which is not terrible, but it's also not cheap. That's why I have to like create the criticism. That can't be right. $27. It's got to be inaccurate. 149 for the ordinary edition? Maybe I shouldn't complain that much. 20 bucks? Yeah, I take it back. My criticisms still stand, even though and keep in mind, we have to remember that it sounds inexpensive, like 20 bucks, 25 bucks, that's a good deal. But keep in mind that these are also Chinese imports. If the price sounds too good to be true, likely that's because it is, and you're probably going to be paying half of that additional to import this thing. So realistically, we're looking at like 35 to 40 bucks. Still not the worst price in the world, but we shouldn't, grow too naive of those prices, especially right now with how things are going with the tariffs. And considering that that's the head sculpt that we're dealing with, I think, and the fact that they doubled down on Crypto, cute, but I would have liked a better head sculpt and much more head accessories as far as, like I said, the laser eyes, a bonus set of hands, something like that. Because I don't think that's the business. Entertainment Earth pre-order, no NRD and free shipping? Is that true? There's the free shipping. I know that if it's like over a set amount, I can do it. Hello. Oh my god. I don't know if I was like half asleep. Big Rib, I don't know if I was asleep or something, but I actually already pre-ordered it. Okay. Nate Sykes Comics, you asked me earlier, do I ever feel like a hoarder? Yes. And that's another reason why. I forget that I pre-ordered shit. Oh my god. I did pre-order it. I guess I must have done it instinctively. Yeah. I did pre-order it on Entertainment Earth. Free shipping. Didn't charge right away. It's telling me January, which is a bummer that I have to wait that long. But yeah, I did pre-order it on Entertainment Earth. Got my order in. Still available though. Wow. I completely forgot about that. That's I have a problem. None of these Superman movie figures interest me. Snyderverse for life. Oh, come on, Big Riff. Oh, God. Yeah, like I said, that's how I have a problem. Alright, guys. Yeah, like I mentioned before, this ended up being a much girthier show than I was anticipating. We had a lot of things to cover, but from what I can tell, we covered all of them. Those were all the topics. I was thinking I was going to have to punt some stuff over to next week, but it looks like I don't have to because we covered everything. Unless something shows up as far as McFarlane Toys, Hot Toys, Marvel Legends, there's like a reveal of some kind, some update on that Batman Returns wave. We shall see, but for the time being, I'll just truck along and getting my content out. And like I said, we're already past the 2-hour mark, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Jesus. Yeah, this was a lengthy one, but felt comfortable doing it. Like I said, I didn't really have any plans for tonight, so. But now we're starting to get closer to dinner time here, and like I said, I have some stuff to edit, some stuff to put the finishing touches on for this weekend, and maybe go and check out a couple of more targets before I hit the gym later on tonight. Alright guys, I'm going to call it there, and like I said, I'm losing my voice, losing my energy. I want to save some of this up So Big Rib, Christian Corbin, Ace Lex Comics, Trippy Cast, J.M. Herrera, A. Oliver, Coolets Art. Been waiting for the Wonder Twins. Sorry I didn't say hi to you earlier. My apologies. Who else was here? Jason's Electric, Anonymous Throne, 1610 Man. And I think that about does it. All right. And everybody else who lurked, watched, and caught the stream, appreciating you. However, if you're watching this as a VOD, I thank you for sticking it all the way through to the very end of this 2 hour and 16-minute stream. I'll check out which topics are worthy of being their own videos and splice them out and post them probably after the weekend. Because like I said, I have 2 big videos going up this weekend. And after that, I could probably post up some of these topic videos and show you guys that. Hey, David, you still interested on Flash Batman? Thinking about selling it? Flash Batman. Are you the one that was mentioning the Hot Toys Flash Batman? I mean, am I still interested in owning him at some point or another? Yes. Do I have the money right now for him? No. To be honest. Like, I'm just being honest with you right now in terms of like the money that I get from YouTube and whatever little bit my girlfriend could help out with. I'd rather put that towards the figures that I know I'm going to cover right away. The stuff that takes priority in terms of like, you know, newly released. Because that's the one thing is that if you're talking about the Hot Toys Flash Batman, do I want to own him eventually? Yes. I definitely do want that figure. Is he going to be made into a video? Yes. Is he going to be made into a video soon? No. It's going to probably be like another month before I bother to even make that video. That's why I'm like, and on top of that, I don't have the money, and whatever money I do have, I'd rather put it towards finding the deluxe edition Corn Sweat Superman, the upcoming Mayfix stuff, upcoming releases, prioritize that, you know what I'm saying? So, especially if, because like I said, a couple days ago, I got hit with a charge for the Agent Venom Amazing Yamaguchi figure, which I kind of forgot about. So that made me go into my spreadsheet and made me realize that probably by the end of this month, we might have the release, might see the release of the Mayfix Andrew from No Way Home, Andrew Spider-Man, the integrated suit Tom from No Way Home, from the ending of No Way Home. And I think that's it. Oh, and depending on what's going on over there overseas from the manufacturer, supposedly by the end of Q2, beginnings of Q3, which is technically next month, July, LPZZ might release their Arkham Knight Batman. And then, speaking of July, let's just say that I may or may not be going to certain events that have to do with the action figures that I talk about. And I think I should also think about saving money for that. Whether it be lodgings, as far as, you know, a place to stay in the city I'm going to have to visit, food, you know, accommodations, but also the events and whether or not they're going to be selling stuff at the events. I don't know. I don't want to speak too much, but yeah, that might happen. Got him about a month ago, still in the box. Big Rib, if you ever want to like stay in touch, like I said, just look me up on Instagram, same username, Dark Spider David. But right now, I don't know about that. Anyways, guys, I'm going to sign off because out of nowhere, my body just said, oh, you're about to finish the stream? Okay, how about you go sit on that toilet? Like, woo, okay. Nature's calling. My apologies for getting a little TMI, but I'm out of here. And like I said, I'm losing my voice, starting to get hungry, really thirsty. It's getting hot in here. I'm out of here, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next stream whenever that happens. It could be next week, or it could be in a couple of weeks. I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you guys for tuning in again, and as always, stay humble and peace out. Fun fact, this stream is as long as Batman Begins. That's crazy.